I've faced homophobia on a regular basis, and I think many of us in this room have also in some way, shape, or form. From jokes to outright insults, homophobia, transphobia, and biphobia come in all shapes and sizes, and I think that's what we want to address here today. People often associate phobia with an outright fear, but this can also be expressed in subtle ways too. For me, these phobias are the downright unacceptance and intolerance towards the LGBTQ community and the various justifications that come with it. I faced many such situations in life, teased for being gay during recess, being told I wasn't boy enough by the many male elder cousins I have. My mom's the youngest of 14, so by the time I popped up in 1985, I had a lot of cousins in high school. But these are all mindsets that we have to challenge and ones that we must promise to change. When I think of my childhood growing up in the Peel region, I have a lot of fond memories, moments with family, laughing, joking around, and a deep, deep sense of community. Knowing that the influx of South Asians moving into my neighborhood, just at the corner of North Park and Tobram Roads, was going to offer a sense of belonging and familial cultural practice. But what I didn't know then was that I wouldn't share this sense of community or belonging growing up. Don't get me wrong, knowing that that fellow classmate who lived 2 doors down shared the same Bollywood taste in music or loved the same Bollywood actress, I loved that feeling, it was amazing. But deeper than that, I wouldn't feel accepted by the community I was growing up in. I felt like an outsider. How? Simply not fitting into the regular narratives of my culture, existing outside cultural perspectives and traditions, and simply defying the expectations placed upon me without my consent of what it was to be a boy and what it was going to be to grow up to be a man. None of those expectations belonged to me, it belonged to everyone else. Yet I was expected to own it, live it, express it, and believe it. One of the many things that shocks me the most is that these issues I faced as a child are still very prevalent within the Peel community today. There is a lot of cultural diversity within Peel, which is one of the most beautiful facets of this region, something that should be celebrated. But at the same time, the celebration of diversity has also created divisions within cultures and communities too. How different could my experience as a young gay South Asian boy be from a boy from the Italian community facing the same issues? Or the Sri Lankan, Jamaican, African, Chinese, or Caribbean communities for that matter. I was so used to understanding that everybody else lived and was differently when they went home after school that I was completely isolated in my experience and I felt very alone. Needless to say, this sense of community I'm referring to from my childhood strengthened over time as my family and neighbors bonded together to create a sense of home and belonging. With this came the outright unacceptance of anything that would challenge it. And I, along with many others, stood outside of those lines that defined community and home. But let's not be mistaken. This sense of community may have created challenges and distasteful memories for me personally, but today I stand here knowing that a more informed sense of community is the key to fostering a more understanding, accepting, and tolerant environment for the youth and families living in Peel today, and that's why I'm here. I can't help but wonder, what if some of the other students faced the same challenges as I did when we went home? It's always a question I used to ask myself. Or if their parents could talk to my parents and realize that, their child wasn't the only one facing this, growing up differently, that our differences were actually things that we shared in common. What if? That was the question, what if? But I think campaigns and breakfasts such as We Belong Here today are meant to answer that question. They are going to erase the what ifs from that equation and instead bridge the gaps between experiences, cultures, and conversations. We Belong is the perfect starting point for us to connect, observe, and as a result, support each other without anyone or anything getting in the way. Because whether they like it or not, we are all meant to be exactly who we are, just as we were born, because we belong.